guys. I am Lanikia, and you are watching What Happened on the Soaps. This is Days of Our Lives edition. Today is Monday, December the 11th, 2023. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a solid 7. It was a good episode. Let's go ahead and get into it. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. We first see Melinda and Paulina. They are crossing in Horton Square. And Melinda comes up to Paulina and she says, "Oh, I see you have all these gifts. Who are you giving that for? Your husband that can't remember anything." And so they start having this little back and forth with each other, where Paulina is just like, "How can you make fun of a man who is such a good man?" And then she told her, "You're still bitter about losing your job." And Melinda says, "Actually, I'm not, because I am not now an adoption attorney, and I actually help Sloan and Eric adopt their baby." And Paulina is happy that Eric gets to be a father, but she says Sloan doesn't need to be anyone's mother. And then she goes about her business, and that's how the two of them end. So then we go over here and we see Kate and Abe. Now she's come over to Steve and Kayla's place to visit with Abe. And so they're sitting down and they're just enjoying each other's company. And he's like, "Well, why are you over here? Like, what's the real reason?" And she tells him because she knows he loves Paulina and she wants them to be back together, and everything. And he understands, what she means and what she's talking about. But at this point, he's not ready. He's not. He doesn't remember her all the way, and so he doesn't want to give Paulina the false hope that he ever will. And she tells him she feels like if he's just around her and continues to keep that connection with Paulina, he'll get there. And so, anyways, y'all, that was it with them. Let's move on. So then Paulina ends up coming over, and when she does, Kate leaves, and Paulina and Abe speak. So as they're speaking, Paulina just lets him know that you know she asked him, "Does he remember this bracelet she had on?" And he said, "No." And she said, "You got it for me last Christmas, and I've worn it ever since." And she said, "You know what? I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry." And he said, "No, no, no, it's okay." Because he's trying to warm up to her, because he even told Kate that he understands why he fell in love with Paulina, but he just doesn't have the memories. And so they're just gonna try it fresh. And so she tells him, "Do you want to come over for Christmas? We could roast some chestnuts. Chanel is gonna make a wonderful Christmas dinner. We can watch It's a Wonderful Life. We could just have a nice little quiet Christmas." And he told her, yeah, he would love to come over for that. So they're working their way back to just going forward. He can't remember the past, but they want to build on going forward and getting to know each other again. And so as Paulina leaves, he looks down at his phone, and Kate sent him a picture of him and Paulina on their wedding day. So that was that, y'all. So then we go over here to Demitri and Lucas. So, they're in prison together, right? And Lucas comes in and he was like, "Oh, I'm glad you're in here, because you remember that Demitri kidnapped Kate." And he was like, "That was not like a kidnapping. Besides smelling like a little fish, she was all right." I said, "Sir, you held her against her will. That is kidnapping." But anyways, let's move right along. So he tells him, "You're gonna pay for what you've done, and why are you in here?" And so Demetri starts telling him about his story about loving Leo and how he gave himself up so that Leo could be free. And he was like, "I don't buy that story. There's got to be more to it." And he was like, "Because you also, you know, are the reason that my ex-wife doesn't have her child." And he said that couldn't be further from the truth. And he was like, "I gave Leo a little package, and hopefully he's using that or whatever." Because Lucas is just like, "I don't believe you love Leo like that. You caused all this harm, and now you're just in here. But I could thank Leo for that, because you are in here, and I'm happy about that." So then they start going at it and start tussling or whatever. I said, "Lucas, you're gonna fight everybody in here." They start tussling, and Kate comes in, and she was like, "What are y'all doing? Get your hands off of him," because Demetrius gonna. Okay. So Lucas and Dimitri tells Kate, "Well, he started because he won't keep his mouth shut." And then he was just like, "Y'all have a lovely visit," and Dimitri leaves. I don't like Dimitri's haircut. I don't know. But so then Kate is telling Lucas, I need you to stay out of trouble. He was like, I'm going to make him pay. The warden and I are really good friends. So he's the one that's going to be cooking up macros or chopping up macros because I'm going to get him kitchen duty. I said, well, I don't know too much about prison, but don't people want to be on kitchen duty? They want to work at the library or be in the kitchen, right? I don't know, child, but y'all tell me. So, anyways, then we go over here and we see Eric and Sloan. Eric, oh yes, 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 yes. We see Eric and Sloan because y'all remember he got a phone call from the lawyer. Sorry, y'all. Sometimes I have to go back in my memory. He had a phone call from the lawyer telling him we're sorry about the baby. So he was about to call the man back, and Sloan said, "No, no, no." She stopped that, and she said, "I haven't been truthful to you about the adoption." And he was like, "What you talking about?" She said, "This is the first baby that we were looking into adopting." And he was like, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, the other my reputation is the reason we were disqualified from the first baby. So this was actually the second baby. And I didn't want to tell you about that because I didn't want to get your hopes up." And he was like, "I'm sorry that happened to you." And she said, "Are you mad at me?" And he was like, "No, I hate that people just judge you, child." And he was like, "And plus you got our family together. I could never be mad at you about that. You gave us a family." I said, "You don't know the half of it, Eric, but okay, child." But anyways, he's about to take the baby out and everything, and so he leaves, right? And so she calls Melinda, and I said, so Sloan didn't end up leaving. But anyways, she calls Melinda, and Melinda was like, "What's up? What's going on?" And so Sloan starts catching her up on everything about the DNA testing and how the only reason it didn't work out is because they didn't have enough DNA on that toothbrush. And so Nicole's DNA they didn't take Nicole's DNA, they used EJ. And Melinda said, "Well, since EJ is not the baby's father, that's why it didn't work." She said, "Woo, you looked out on that one." And Sloan said, "It feels like I'm just putting out fires everywhere. Every time I turn around, there's a different fire to put out. I don't know if I could do this." And so Melinda talks her into it again. She was like, "Girl, you got your family, you got your husband, you got this baby, you have everything that you want. I didn't get to have this. And so I'm going to do everything I can to help you." And Sloan is like, "Yeah, because I did lose my parents and my brother's in prison. So Eric and this baby is the only family I have." And she said, "But I don't trust Demitri because he knows about it." And so Melinda says, "All right, well, we're going to do what we need to do. And we're going to get him in solitary confinement so that he can never have visitors. Therefore, he can never tell Leo what's going on." I said, "Baby, too late." But anyway, so I said, oh, y'all, Melinda, Sloan, if you're going to do this, you need to keep Melinda in the loop because you ain't doing it right on your own. But anyway, so then we go. That's it with them, y'all. So then we go over here to Leo and Nicole because remember he knocked on the door and he told her he had to say something about her baby. So she starts going off on him and talk about, "Don't you talk about my baby? Don't do this and don't do that." And he's trying to explain to her that he had nothing to do, with everything going on with her child, but she doesn't want to hear anything that he has to say, right? So because of that, he doesn't get to tell her what's going on with the baby. So then, before EJ hears her fussing, and he runs down and he tells Leo, "Get out of here. You need to leave." And he says, "I have something to tell you about the baby." Because Nicole was telling Leo, "There's nothing you can do to bring my baby back, nothing you can say." And he said, "But what if there is?" And she's just like, before she can really get into it, that's when EJ comes down and he makes Leo leave. It gets him out of there. So when he leaves, EJ and Nicole are talking, and she tells him, "I just need to go for a walk to clear my head." And he said, "I can go with you." And she says, "No." But he tells her, "I'll get a restraining order on Leo so he'll never bother you again." So when Nicole leaves, Leo comes back and he tries to tell EJ again, and he tells him, "Your baby is alive." EJ doesn't believe him. He tries to beat Leo up. He does end up punching him, but he's manhandling Leo, and Leo is trying to tell him, "Your baby's alive. Let me tell you." But he tells him, "Don't you say another word. I don't want to hear it. Don't say another word." And so therefore, Leo didn't get to tell him about the baby. That was it. He didn't get to tell him anything about the baby. So that's all they have, right? And so Leo is just like, "Oh, well, you try to be nice and it never works out." So then we see that Nicole and Eric is walking the baby through the park, because remember he was taking the baby on the walk, and he runs into Nicole and he's about to hurry up and leave, and she says, "No, you don't have to run from me, Eric. I know this baby is not mine. I the DNA test proved that, and I just have to accept the facts." So then he tells her, he's sorry about, everything that she's gone through and she's went through, and she tells him, it's okay. And so he's shoot. So he's leaving, right? And then but she tells him to stay, so they sit down and they talk, and she tells him about EJ wanting to have another baby, and he was like, well, why don't you want to do it? She said because she can't go through losing another baby. She just mentally, physically, she just cannot go through it again, and he understands. And then she tells him Leo came to see me. And he was like, why? And she said he said, I told him there's nothing he can say to bring my baby back. And he says, but what if there was? She said, why would he say that? But before Eric, they could get into it, the baby starts fussing. And so Eric has to leave. And then we see EJ come up to Nicole, right? And he's comforting her. And also, I forgot to put it in the slide, but we also see Sloan with the Sloan is at her apartment, and she's like, I'm gonna do like Melinda says, I'm not gonna stop worrying about everything. And then as she's doing that, she gets a knock at the door, and it's Leon. She was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, we need to talk. And that was Days of Our Lives today, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you tomorrow for an all new episode of What Happened on the Soaps Days of Our Lives edition. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.